Part 78. Her Majesty the Queen has become a god in the entertainment industry. Author, Press 11. Chapter 771. The live broadcast was paused as the guests gathered and prepared to board the plane. And prompted, the live broadcast will start again in 2 hours. After turning off the live broadcast, everyone spoke more casually. The director said there is another mysterious guest. Who could it be? I see a lot of people guessing Zhang Lingzi on the internet. But I see that Sister 11 has been quite busy recently. Chen Qiun was walking at the end in silence, but when he heard this, he couldn't help but interjected, "It can't be Zhang Lingzi." As soon as these words came out, several people walking in front turned their heads to look over. Why is Teacher Chen so sure? Chen Qiun was silent, gritted his teeth and said, "She is currently filming a movie directed by Feng Su. How could she take the vacation to make other announcements? Besides, she has won the Mulan Award for Best Actress, and she still uses 'Do you need to be on this live variety show?'" Zhang Kaiwen heard some hostility in Chen Qiun's words, and couldn't help but frowned, and opened his mouth not knowing how to refute. Although what Chen Qiun said later means that he looks down on their program, it is also a reality. With Zhang Lingzi's current popularity, there will only be more announcements that are better than Survival. There is really no need to participate in this exciting but dirty, tiring and dangerous program. Lin Jing was the calmest among everyone. He patted Zhang Kaiwen on the shoulder, who suddenly felt a little disappointed. "We'll find out when we get to the island." The plane took off and landed on Gezhou Island 2 hours later. Live broadcast has also started again. However, Zhang Lingzi did not continue to pay attention this time. She, Tong Yu and the others were still on the plane. After the program crew got off the plane and took the ship for nearly an hour, Zhang Lingzi finally got on the speedboat that had been waiting on the shore early and chased in the direction of the ship. Zhang Lingzi was on the deck holding Lu Zhenzhen's tablet and watching the live broadcast of the barrage. Survival on the island, I can. Gezhou Island, my hometown is Gezhou Island. There are many small islands around it, some have been developed, and some are still desert islands. Is it a tourist attraction? I have never heard of it before, but the sea water is really blue and clear. It should be a niche tourist attraction. Not many people know about it. But we won't know until this episode is finished filming. I guess in the future someone will definitely want to go to the deserted island where the guests of Survival filmed the show. Are there any locals in the live broadcast room who can tell me what is worth doing on this island, what is there to eat, and are there many hotels and the like? Have you started planning your trip now? Aren't you afraid that everyone will flock there and not be able to book a reservation? Good to prepare for a rainy day. Who is this last guest? The program team has also learned to tell the truth, and I have been scratching my head these past few days with my guesses. Blindly guess a Zhang Lingzi. I think Zhang Lingzi is unlikely. She no longer needs to use Survival to increase her popularity. If she goes, the program team will benefit from her. By the way, Zhang Lingzi's account did not mention anything related to Survival. As far as what information can come out of her account that has started to grow again, she might as well pay attention to the accounts of her agent and assistant. Isn't it rumored that Zhang Lingzi went to film a movie? Then it is even more impossible to be Zhang Lingzi. But speaking of it, I kind of wish it was Zhang Lingzi. Her performance in the first season was really amazing. I just rewatched the post-edited version 2 days ago. I advise not to have too high hopes, but since we can be the mysterious guest, the candidate should be beyond our expectations, not to mention we are quite looking forward to it. Actually, I am quite surprised that Chen Qiun will join Survival Season 3. I can't think of a more unexpected person. As the barrage passed by quickly, the lush island in the live broadcast footage appeared in the field of vision of the guests and viewers. Zhang Lingzi could also vaguely see it, and it seemed that it was still quite a long way away. There is no dock on the deserted island, and the ship is so big that it stops slowly before it even gets close to the shore. Next, the guests and the program staff will transfer to the small motorboat to land on the island. Chen Qiun didn't have many shots on the ship before, mainly because she was seasick and didn't want the audience in the live broadcast room to see her pale and haggard look. This will be transferred from the ship to the small motorboat, which is closer to the undulating sea water. In addition, the water is so clear that you can see the bottom at a glance. At a glance, you can't tell the difference between the sky and the sea. Just when the audience in the live broadcast room was still sighing that the water is so clear, you can even see the fish on the bottom of the sea, and have the urge to dive, something unexpected happened. Chen Qiun looked at the sea water and was shaken. He couldn't keep his feet firmly on his feet. He tilted his body and fell into the water while lying on his side. This incident not only shocked everyone around him, but also shocked the audience in the live broadcast room. Chen Qiun should not only be seasick, but also seasick, right? Then this survival challenge is a hellish level of difficulty for her. It is surrounded by the sea on all sides. The island is not big, and there is probably not much food. Maybe she will have to find food from the sea in the next few days. Finally, I met a guest who was seasick. I am seasick too. This feeling is quite mysterious. I can swim in the swimming pool and face rivers and lakes. It's fine, but when facing the sea, I just need to look twice, feel dizzy. Chen Qiun is so confused. Is there a possibility? She herself doesn't know. You will know when you come. Zhang Lingzi looked at Chen Qiun, who fell straight into the sea in the live broadcast, and she didn't know what to say. Fortunately, everyone was prepared for accidentally falling into the water before getting off the boat, and everyone wore a life jacket. Chen Qiun was lifted up by a life jacket as soon as he fell into the water, and the rescue personnel assigned by the program team also responded quickly and jumped into the water to save people. Within a few minutes after falling into the water, the person was successfully rescued. That's right, in the weather in April and May, when the whole body is soaked, and then blown by the wind from the sea, people can't help but shiver. Chen Qiun wrapped his eyes in a blanket and closed his eyes, trying his best to ignore that he was at sea. As soon as he opened his eyes, he met the worried eyes of his assistant. There are 10,000 things I want to say in my heart. She prefers mountains to the sea, so she never went to the beach or played in the sea during her vacation. She even rowed a boat in the lake, and she never thought that she would get seasick. This physique directly caused her to cause the first accident in Survival Season 3. Although the assistant said nothing due to the live broadcast, she understood the meaning in her eyes. Will this program continue to be recorded? Before the recording of other programs was finished, half of my life was wasted, and in the end the gain outweighed the loss. Chen Qiun gritted his teeth, and when Li Shuo came over to ask her how she was doing, he took a deep breath and said, "Thank you, Director, I'm fine." If it wasn't for seasickness, she didn't believe she couldn't overcome it. After all, we have come this far, and if we go back the same way, our previous sins will be in vain. Li Shuo was convinced again and again, and seeing her firm attitude, he didn't say anything. This is a true warrior. I used to think that Chen Qiun was a bit arrogant because of her return from abroad to develop her career, but now I have a slightly different view of her. At least her hard work is quite admirable. She is worthy of being a woman who has been certified as a professional racing driver in a racing field that is almost dominated by men. I will see how Chen Qiun overcomes seasickness. The motorboat rode to the shore of the desert island, and Chen Qiun gritted his teeth and forced his legs to get ashore. Some staff members who came up in advance have already set up a simple tent. Chen Qiun took the dry clothes handed by the assistant and went in to change. Isn't the mysterious guest showing up yet? Are you already waiting on the desert island? During the live broadcast, the guests also turned their attention to the director, who was still trying to sell things off. Don't be anxious, don't be anxious. Li Shuo smiled and motioned for everyone to be calm. He looked across the crowd and looked at the sea. People are rushing this way. In the field of vision, a pure white yacht is coming here through the waves. Chen Qiun changed his clothes and wiped his hair that was not yet dry when he came out of the tent. He saw that everyone in the program team was looking at the sea in unison, and they pursed their lips and looked over. When he saw the figure standing on the deck of the yacht that was breaking through the waves, his pupils suddenly shrank. End of chapter. Her Majesty the Queen has become a god in the entertainment industry. Author, Press 11. Chapter 772. Chapter 772 Follow Sister 11 and have meat to eat. The barrage in the live broadcast room is much more lively and exciting than the live broadcast. Look, speedboat. Is this the speedboat that is here to see off the mysterious guest? Although the equipment of the program team is not very powerful, this figure standing on the deck reminded me of a person in an instant. Don't tell me, so am I, could it really be Zhang Lingzi? His Majesty actually participated in the filming of the third season. It feels like I was dreaming back to the first season. Wow! And this time there is no Virgin Mary Xiao Balian from Zhangziu, so I feel much more comfortable. But this time there is one more person holding back Chen Qiun 23333. As long as Chen Qiun is not allowed to go to sea, his strength will definitely overwhelm Zhang Ziyu. But looking at Chen Qiun's expression, it seems that he can't believe that Zhang Lingzi is the mysterious guest. I saw Zhang Kaiwen's expression next to me. My younger brother was probably laughing wildly in his heart, I'm so happy that I can win again. Little brother Zhang takes over again. The mysterious guest finally appeared in the live broadcast of Survival Season 3 before the speedboat arrived at the shore. The entry of #Survival Season 3 Mysterious Guest Zhang Lingzi hashtag was trending on the top of the search list by a group of surprised viewers. People in the entertainment industry. I'm tired of talking about envy, jealousy, and hatred. The reactions of everyone on the shore were generally pleasant. Several people who worked with Zhang Lingzi in the first season all had a very good impression of Zhang Lingzi, especially Zhang Kaiwen. This meeting is waving wildly in the direction of the yacht. When the yacht docked, he stepped forward diligently and said, Sister 11, it was so hard for the director to hide this from me. Zhang Lingzi patted him on the shoulder knowingly after getting off the speedboat, and walked to the shore while looking at the other guests. He met Chen Qiun's somewhat dazed eyes. He raised his eyebrows, did he not believe that she would come? Chen Qiun suddenly came back to his senses after meeting Zhang Lingzi's gaze. Even if you still dare not believe it, now that people are standing in front of you, you have to believe it. Zhang Lingzi actually left the crew of director Feng's The Wind and came to film a survival variety show with them. What on earth is this person thinking? She found that she really couldn't understand Zhang Lingzi's brain circuit. Is this still necessary? Can you please stop being so unexpected? The key is that now that she saw Zhang Lingzi, she couldn't help but think of the feeling of being suppressed by such a person in her professional field during the closed training and ultimately losing her role. My whole body felt bad for a while. However, Zhang Lingzi only glanced at her and then looked away. Walked to the line of guests, first shook hands with Lin Jing, then hugged Suai, and finally said hello to Zhou Yi. Chen Qiun. In the end, she is the only new person. Zhang Lingzi finally walked up to Chen Qiun and said, Teacher Chen, I've been waiting for a long time. Facing Zhang Lingzi and the camera behind her, Chen Qiun felt his scalp numb and forced a smile. Yeah, it didn't take long. Why do I feel that Chen Qiun is a little nervous when facing Zhang Lingzi? Is it my imagination? It shouldn't be an illusion, because I feel the same way. Have the two of them collaborated before? This question was asked by Zhang Kaiwen, who was also aware of this and always outspoken. Sister 11 and Teacher Chen have known each other before. Chen Qiun nodded stiffly. Not only did they get to know each other, they also trained together for a month. If we simply talk about the longest time together, then she and Zhang Lingzi should be number one. However, this experience can be called her own shadow, and she doesn't want to talk about it. Zhang Lingzi didn't intend to talk more about it, so she nodded and said, "I know you." Zhang Kaiwen nodded suddenly, but he was sensible and did not ask any more questions. Just as Li Shuo announced that all the guests have arrived, this season of Desert Island Survival has officially begun. Among our guests this season, some have participated in the first season, some have participated in both seasons, and some are participating for the first time. Therefore, the rules of this third season are slightly different from the first two seasons. However, even if the rules change slightly, the theme of survival remains the same. This time, they not only had to survive on the desert island in front of them for 5 days with their own hands, but they also had to explore the desert island as much as possible in these 5 days. It can be regarded as a front line for subsequent island development. After each of them selected the 2 tools they needed as usual in the first 2 seasons, they took their respective cameramen and plunged into the woods in front of them. It will be noon soon, and the top priority now is to find something to eat and fill up your stomach before you have the strength to explore later. Zhang Kaiwen took his own tools and followed Zhang Lingzi without thinking. He said generously to the camera, "Follow Sister 11 and you will have meat to eat." Zhang Lingzi: "I haven't seen you for a while, and my face is getting thicker and thicker." But I didn't say anything. It would be good to have a younger brother to help me. Chen Qiun turned his head and glanced at the figures of Zhang Lingzi and Zhang Kaiwen. Farther away, Sui and Zhou Yi were walking together, while Lin Jing was walking alone. She gritted her teeth and chose the opposite direction to Zhang Lingzi. Zhang Lingzi's participation in Survival Season 3 was beyond her expectation. Now that it has become a fact, she can only try not to meet him during these 5 days, so that she can feel more comfortable. But even if we are on the same small island, we can't avoid meeting if we don't want to. Although Chen Qiun was confident that she had good physical strength, she could not survive just by having good physical strength. That night, she was hungry because she did not find enough food. She smelled the aroma of food floating in the wind and endured it again and again. Finally, she followed the smell. Past. Then he saw the milky white soup bubbling in a small pot on the fire between Zhang Lingzi and Zhang Kaiwen, and couldn't take his eyes away. Gilug. Chen Qiun clutched his stomach and his face instantly turned red. Stomach growling is not scary, but in front of Zhang Lingzi. Finally restrained his shame, but he was too embarrassed to eat for free. I picked up a few mushrooms, but I don't know if I can eat them." Zhang Lingzi looked at the mushrooms strung on the branches in front of her. "It's edible. Can I have a bowl of soup instead?" The mushrooms were relatively clean, so Zhang Lingzi tore them up and put them in the pot. Soon the already delicious soup became even more delicious. After cooking, Chen Qiun distributed the leaves to make a bowl of soup. There are still a few pieces of meat in it. After taking a bite, he said angrily, "This meat is so tender, what kind of meat is it?" Zhang Lingzi pointed to the snake skin tied to a branch nearby. Poof! It didn't pop out, but the upper and lower lips were pinched by quick-eyed hands. "Don't spit it out, just swallow it." Chen Qiun: "Ah, you shouldn't ask. How wonderful it is to know nothing." Chen Qiun: "Mom, this person is so scary." To this day, the image of this woman skinning a snake with ruthless skill still appears in front of my eyes. If Chen Qiun knew that Zhang Lingzi peeled off the snake skin and pinched her mouth, would he collapse on the spot? "Zhang Lingzi, I have worked so hard, let's see who dares to waste it." You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Her Majesty the Queen has become a god in the entertainment industry. Author, Press 11. Chapter 773. Chapter 773, The Big Boss drags two with him, leading the little boy to fly. 5 days is not a long time, nor is it a short time. Others are okay. They have participated in 1 or 2 seasons, and have gained some experience. They can always find some fun in the process of surviving hard, and their lives are relatively easy. But for Chen Qiun, who was participating for the first time, this time was relatively long. It wasn't even because she had to work hard to find food to fill her stomach every day, nor was it because she had to complete additional tasks of exploring the island, it was just because her journey of succumbing to Zhang Lingzi was too tortuous. From being pinched in the mouth to swallowing snake meat soup that I had never drunk before and never expected to drink, to being kicked into a mud pit while hurriedly avoiding the swarm of bees, and being covered in mud after the bees left. Pulled out of the mud pit. There are always various foods that she has never eaten before that challenge her ability to bear, and there are also various accidents and unexpected solutions. Every day is an extreme challenge. 5 days later, Chen Qiun not only added several ingredients to his diet that he would never eat before, but also learned skills such as climbing trees quickly, catching rabbits with his bare hands, alerting snakes, and making fires in the wild. For her, it can be called a history of surrender with blood and tears. The only good thing is that I survived the 5 days of survival despite various stimuli. Although I was injured during the period, they were only minor falls and bruises, and I didn't starve to death. The audience squatting in the live broadcast room watched her huge transformation bit by bit. Normally, their main pleasure in watching survival live broadcasts lies in watching the celebrities who usually look so glamorous on the screen, struggling to the point of exhaustion in the wild just for a mouthful of food or even a mouthful of water. But this time there is another highlight, Chen Qiun. His experience in just 5 days can be summed up as follows: see how the novice wilderness survival expert who came to the door was simply and roughly trained by the boss to become a junior wilderness survival expert. This can be edited into a short film alone. They have already decided on a name, and it is called Xiaoun's Growth Story. Not to mention, there are quite a few talented people who worked overtime to edit a lot of materials, and even added some special effects to them. When they were put online, the number of clicks skyrocketed. Of course, Chen Qiun himself doesn't know all this. After everyone spent 5 days on the island, they finally returned to the starting point of the survival challenge. After the director announced that the survival challenge had successfully ended, the live broadcast was also closed. The guest assistants and managers who had been squatting behind the cameras stepped forward to accept their artists. As soon as Chen Qiun met the agent who came to pick him up, he met his eyes with a look that was so complicated that he didn't know how to describe it. "Why are you looking at me like that? I know I'm a little embarrassed now, but it's not that exaggerated, right?" The manager opened and closed his mouth, reached out and handed over the cell phone he was keeping. "You'd better read it yourself." He really didn't know what to say. But before Chen Qiun could turn on the phone, the ship arriving to pick up the show crew arrived. After everyone got busy and boarded the ship, Chen Qiun turned on his phone. After searching the internet for news related to Survival Season 3, he finally watched a short video of her being dragged down by Zhang Lingzi and being tortured in various ways. The whole people are completely bad. She knew that she had been in a miserable state these past few days, but how could she still be so funny? She obviously doesn't want to leave, it's so funny. Looking up in confusion, he saw his agent walking towards Zhang Lingzi. "You don't want to find a way back for her, do you?" This guess made her brain tighten. The last closed training taught her that there are people who are better than others, and she should not be too proud just because she has some abilities. So this time she experienced the survival challenge personally. Zhang Lingzi was someone she couldn't afford to offend. It's easy to peel off a snake's skin with your bare hands, but kicking the opponent without saying a word is the best way to do it. Anyway, she has been trained to become Spartan these days. As for resistance, there is no such thing. Resisting will only make her situation worse, and she already knows this. He immediately stood up and chased after him. Before he could catch up with anyone, he saw his manager walking up to Zhang Lingzi and bowing without saying anything. "Teacher Zhang." Zhang Lingzi was enjoying the sea breeze while talking to Tong Yu on the phone. This person called me shortly after the live broadcast ended. Just when I mentioned that the program had received a good response and had been on several hot searches, I heard a voice from beside me. She held the phone and turned to look at it. "Thank you very much, Teacher Zhang, for taking care of our Xiaoun during these 5 days." As soon as these words came out, Zhang Lingzi knew who was coming, not to mention that there was Chen Qiun chasing after him. "You're welcome, help each other." After all, it was a live broadcast, so she couldn't ignore Chen Qiun's initiative. If the other person is as pretentious and hypocritical as Zhang Ziyu, then she will naturally not get used to it. However, Chen Qiun's performance is still remarkable. Although she was tortured to a great extent, she never complained or was tired. She would take the initiative to do whatever she could, which saved her a lot of trouble. Otherwise, she would have left Chen Qiun alone to cool off. She doesn't have to do anything thankless. Then don't bother Teacher Zhang with the phone call. Chen Qiun waited for the agent to come back. "I thought you. Am I such a superficial person? Although you were really tortured by Zhang Lingzi this time, the benefits you got were not small. Not to mention that you spent the past 5 days on the island peacefully, and you were taken. It has been trending several times. Is the funny version a hot search? Ahem, have you seen it all? It's funny. It's a hot search. Your account has gained hundreds of thousands of fans. Fans say that although you are a little kid, you are also a little kid who is willing to work hard. Compared with people who have been on this variety show before are better. Chen Qiun. It is undoubtedly a happy thing to gain fans, but this time, how should I put it, the mood is very complicated. Is it Agent Chen Qiun who came over just now to thank you? That's right, Tong Yu said with a smile. I also knew that I would come over and thank you. To be honest, when Chen Qiun found you there that night when she was hungry and followed the smell, I was afraid that you would ignore her. After all, it was still a competitive relationship before. Am I that inhumane? Of course, if it were someone like Sulinur, it would be a different matter. Haha, not to mention, the interaction between the two of you was once popular, and it can be regarded as a big hit of the season. It is an unexpected surprise for both the show and yourself. For Chen Qiun, yes, his agent probably understands this reason, so he came here to say thank you. Although it was a miserable experience, the result is good and the enthusiasm is real. The rest is nothing. In the entertainment industry, being popular is the most important thing. Her Majesty the Queen has become a god in the entertainment industry. Author, Press 11. Chapter 774. Chapter 774, Loki Visit, The Wind is finished. After filming Survival Season 3, we got off the boat and returned to Gizhu Island. We didn't even bother to get together for a meal. We only had time to say goodbye to each other, and everyone dispersed to get busy with the next work. Zhang Lingzi sat in the car and looked at the scenery outside through the car window. This trip came and left in a hurry, and she didn't have time to stop and appreciate it. Lu Zhengzheng followed her gaze and said, "It seems to be a lot more lively than the last time I came here." The last time they passed by was at about the same time as now, but the flow of people on the street was much less and there was no congestion at all. The car is stopping now. Fortunately, the plane they want to take is still early before it takes off, otherwise they don't know if they can catch it. Fang Yao looked away from the mobile phone screen. It was influenced by the program. After the live broadcast of Survival, people started to come here one after another to travel. Now the hotels on the island are basically full, and many islanders have temporarily converted their homes into B&Bs to receive guests. Look. Lu Zhengzheng lowered his head and looked at the travel software displayed on the screen. He clicked on several hotel links in succession and it showed that all the rooms had been booked. This has become popular too fast. Are everyone so free now? You underestimated the influence of Survival and Sister 11. Even if 1 out of 100 people watching the live broadcast comes over, it is enough to boost the local tourism industry. In addition, people have a herd mentality. They say this place is great, so if you want to come and take a look, it won't be crowded. This seems to be the case. The deserted island where Sister 11 and the others film the show will soon be turned into a tourist attraction. Definitely. Zhang Lingzi looked out the car window and listened to the conversation between the 2 assistants behind her. Promote the development of local tourism. That is indeed a good thing. Even if it's just temporary. Asterisk. The plane landed at the airport at nearly midnight. The 3 people pushed their luggage out and got directly into the commercial vehicle that was waiting outside. Sister 11, are you going back to Z1 or the crew? Come on, crew, stop going back and forth. She made a video call with Shen Yunqing before getting on the plane. It was expected that it would be very late when she got off the plane. She didn't say anything about getting off the plane and going back to Z1, and Shen Yunqing naturally didn't say anything either. We'll wait until the wind is finished. It was 1 o'clock in the morning when we arrived at the set. After tidying up some more, it was almost 2 o'clock before Zhang Lingzi lay down on the bed. I closed my eyes and fell asleep. The next morning, I put on makeup and rushed to the set to continue filming. Feng Xiu has Zhang Lingzi's schedule here, and her notice list has been arranged before she comes back. There are 6 scenes rehearsed for you today. If you don't ng, the filming can be completed in almost half a day. You should also rest more. Tomorrow's scene is very important. Director Feng admits that he is not a cold-blooded person. During his breaks, he will also watch the live broadcast of Survival Season 3. Filming this show is not as easy as filming it on his crew, and even because it is a live broadcast, it requires more content. Guests should always pay attention to their words and deeds. Especially Zhang Lingzi, who was always 1 to 2 in the show. To be honest, he quite admired this girl. Naturally, I am also willing to take the initiative to provide some care within my ability. Zhang Lingzi naturally appreciated it. Thank you, director. But something unexpected happened to her. Shen Yunqing's visiting team arrived in a rather low-key manner. She was finishing filming a scene opposite Xiao Yu, and when she turned around, she saw someone else sitting on the folding chair where she was resting. Sister 11. I saw it. Zhang Lingzi handed the water glass in her hand to Fang Yao and walked over quickly. Since everything was clear in front of the entire network, she walked up to Shen Yunqing, who had already stood up, and hugged him. Why did you come here suddenly? Shen Yunqing hugged him back, tilted his head slightly and replied in a lower voice, Your Majesty is busy with his career, and I wanted to see Your Majesty again, so I came here. Zhang Lingzi couldn't help but chuckle. She likes to hear this. After letting go, she held Shen Yunqing's hand as if no one was watching, and asked Lu Zhengzheng, who was standing 1 meter away, looking at the sky and the ground but not looking this way, Have I finished filming the scene this morning? Lu Zhengzheng pulled out the notice and glanced at it quickly. Lian nodded, Yeah, there are 2 more games in the afternoon, starting at 3 o'clock. Call me when the time comes. Lu Zhengzheng nodded obediently, Okay. Zhang Lingzi waved her hand in the direction of Feng Xiu again, and when she saw the other party nodded to let him go, he took the person away without any burden. Xiao Yu stood there and watched the 2 people hugging and leaving together. He didn't come back to reality until he was tapped on the shoulder. Tisk, I read online that Mr. Shen is very low-key thanks to Sister 11, we have now met Mr. Shen in person. Although I only dare to look from a distance and dare not take a closer look, let alone take the initiative to say hello, it is still much better than before when I could only see through the screen. Why do I feel that Mr. Shen is even better than the one on TV? He has such a temperament that I will never be able to cultivate it in 8 lifetimes. No wonder he can capture Sister 11's heart. What do you think? Xiao Yu, He has to admit that this is a fact. Some people are so good that they can put you to shame. and it's already great that he can have such an opportunity to cooperate. Be satisfied. Zhang Lingzi brought the person directly into her dormitory. Although the opposite is not allowed here, family members are accepted. But after coming up, you can only stay in the room. Shen Yunqing not only came to visit the class in a low-key manner this time, but also brought some food. Zhang Lingzi didn't let Lu Zhengzheng bring her another lunch. The two of them sat at the small dining table and ate slowly, exercised to digest their food, and fell asleep hugging each other. After being busy for such a long time, this little time to get together has become extremely precious. Until Lu Zhengzheng came and knocked on the door to remind me to prepare for the afternoon shooting. I still have to shoot for about half a month. Director Feng forgives me for having a little free time today. I won't have so much free time in the future, Zhang Lingzi said and looked at the person in the mirror. I won't come here suddenly again. I must have time for you. Okay, I know. Having said it all, in the next half month of filming, Shen Yunqing came again a few times. The frequency is not high, and it is quite low-key, and it is chosen at a time when she is relatively less busy. Even if she comes, she just sits and eats together. Zhang Lingzi suspected that Lu Zhengzheng had shown the notice to Shen Yunqing in advance. On the day of her finalization, Feng Su deciphered the secret for her. Mr. Shen came to me at that time. There was already no shortage of investment for the wind, but Mr. Shen came up with another approach, so I accepted it. Zhang Lingzi then realized that the crew's uneasy safety facilities and the highly professional medical team were all created by Shen Yunqing. Not only to ensure her safety, but also for the safety of other crew members, so that no one would be injured and the overall filming progress would not be slowed down. It has been considered quite comprehensively. But before she could figure out how to reward her Prime Minister's hard work, she was greeted by Tong Yu, whose workload had increased dramatically recently and was also very busy at home and abroad. After meeting, he said in a hurry, "Have you packed your luggage? I've booked a flight for 3 hours to take you to the crew of Yugongan. It happened that you had to change planes halfway through Shanghai, and a brand you previously endorsed was holding an annual celebration. I just happened to be able to join in today." Zhang Lingzi. Is it time to repay the boast I made in Haikao when I took the role? Her Majesty the Queen has become a god in the entertainment industry. Author, Press 11. Chapter 775. Chapter 775, Taking the College Entrance Examination. From this brand endorsement event I participated in during the turnaround, it was like the valve of my career was completely opened. Over the next 2 months, Zhang Lingzi had just finished filming the lead role in Yugongan, and then joined the crew of Phoenix Seal. There were also several endorsements and the filming of charity short films interspersed in the middle, that is, variety shows. She didn't want to appear in those programs where she sang and danced on stage. Tong Yu didn't dare to force her, and she pushed through several of them with tears in her eyes. Otherwise, the schedule would be it will only get busier. In addition, she was also preparing for the upcoming college entrance examination. Even the drama The Legend of the Fallen City that she had made an appointment with Lu Zhengzheng and finally got aired, she gave up. I really can't squeeze out that time. As for celebrity accounts, they were entrusted to Lu Zhengzheng and Fang Yao for hosting early on. However, they only dared to help forward some necessary brand promotion updates. They preferred to post other private updates on their assistant accounts. Mainly because I don't know if the fans of this generation all have a pair of piercing eyes. Even if the two of them have tried their best to imitate Zhang Lingzi's style to express their status, netizens can always tell that they are not the same person. Because of this, the two of them studied the few posts Zhang Lingzi had posted for a long time, but in the end they couldn't come up with a reason. It can only be attributed to the mysterious connection between idols and fans. But everyone knows that their Jia 11 sister has not paid much attention to the growing number of fans, and strictly prohibits these people from spending time, energy, and money organizing activities such as support. It can be said that the boundary between the two is clearly drawn. Clear. Chasing stars is all about chasing stars. You can like me, and in return, I will contribute good works, but that's it. Both parties must not affect each other's lives. After all, this is a spokesperson who can directly remind fans to buy rationally in the context of the promotion of his endorsed products. All in all, Zhang Lingzi was busy until there were only 3 days left before the college entrance examination, and she finished all the series of announcements that Tong Yu had arranged for her. As soon as she temporarily closed the door on her career, Zhang Lingzi decided to give Lu Zhengzheng and others who were following her around all over the world a holiday. At least until the end of the college entrance examination, the people in the team no longer have to work around her, and they can finally take a breath. Everyone in the team knew early on that their artist was going to take the college entrance examination. Before leaving, Lu Zhengzheng, as the representative, gave Zhang Lingzi a gift, and everyone sent her a blessing. Come on for the college entrance examination. Victory is on the way. The gift was contained in a scarlet pouch. Although it had not been opened yet, Zhang Lingzi could already guess what it was by touching it. As soon as Shen Yunqing got in the car, she noticed something in her hand. What is this? When we separated, Zheng Zheng and the others gave it to me. I felt it should be the Wenchang pagoda. Zhang Lingzi said as she untied the golden belt tied to the mouth of the brocade bag, put her fingers in, and when she took it out, there was a small wooden tower the size of a finger in her hand. Although it was small, it was also delicate. Well, it's still 3 floors. Shen Yunqing looked at the small tower in Zhang Lingzi's hand and pursed her lips. He also prepared it, but because it was much larger than this, he placed it on the desk in Ziwan's study and did not bring it over. The result was that I was taken a step ahead, but it's hard to say anything. No matter the size, it is a good wish. I ask Xiaoxu to move here. If you don't go there tomorrow, stay at home and have a good rest. I will show you to the exam room the day after tomorrow. When the exam starts, I will send you there together. That's good, so as to save him from forgetting something important at the critical moment. She read the news about the college entrance examination and found that this kind of situation happened all the time, and everything was lost. Maybe it will happen to the people around you. When Zhang Lingzi returned to Ziwan, Zhang Lingxiu was still cramming and studying hard. The two siblings simply said hello when they met. Sister, you are back. Well, then write yours. Zhang Lingxiu continued to work on the papers specially given to him by his brother-in-law with a painful look on his face, while Zhang Lingzi dragged a suitcase specially used for books to the study room to put away books. As soon as I stepped in, I immediately saw the log Wenchang pagoda, which was half a person tall and placed in the upper left corner of the desk. When was it released? It's not been a few days. I just came back from Yuchen Temple. You and Xiaoxu are in the same room. When Zhang Lingzi heard him say please, she knew that the Wenchang pagoda was specially opened, and the person invited was not an ordinary master. Wuju is still unable to get out of the Tai Sui project, so the only question left is it the boss who opened the light? Zhang Lingzi raised her hand and brushed the warm wooden spire. If I don't do well in the exam, I won't be able to forgive you for putting so much effort into it. Don't have too much psychological pressure anyway, the college entrance examination happens every year. That won't work. I have to pass the exam in the first try, otherwise it will be quite embarrassing if I am recognized. Zhang Lingxiu stared at the last big question. The air conditioner was obviously on in the room, but my palms were sweating heavily. Can't figure it out. Sister, it's too difficult. Zhang Lingzi saw at a glance that the title was Shen Yunqing's handwriting, dragged a stool from the side and took a pen, and sat down to review the title. 10 minutes later. See if the answer is correct. Zhang Lingxiu pulled out the answer at the bottom, compared it and nodded. That's right. With a depressed expression, he said, I spent more than twice as long and didn't even have an idea. And you were so busy in the past few months. Zhang Lingzi wanted to stroke his dog's head, but she looked at the boy's hair and withdrew her hand. It's not a matter of whether you're busy or not. Zhang Lingxiu immediately understood the next sentence she didn't say, it's a matter of IQ. Wiping his face, I'll answer a few more questions. Zhang Lingzi took the paper in his hand, ignored the smears on it, and did it casually. It is certain that this is tailor-made by Shen Yunqing according to Zhang Lingxiu's level. Tell her something simpler than usual. There are 3 days left, come on, you can do it. Zhang Lingxiu. He wishes he could too. 3 days flew by. Except for one day in the evening when there were fewer people, the three of them took a car to familiarize themselves with the examination room. At other times, they never left Z1. Of course, Zhang Lingzi mainly wanted to rest, but Zhang Lingxiu did not have this treatment. He only had a good sleep the night before the exam. On the day of the college entrance examination, after everything was prepared, Shen Yunqing drove Zhang Lingzi and Zhang Lingxiu to the examination room smoothly. The subjects they were going to take the exam for were slightly different. After entering the exam center, they encouraged each other and went to line up at the admissions office. It was Zhang Lingzi's turn to be examined. Before the teacher in charge of the inspection could speak, she neatly took off her hat and mask. What she relies on is that even if someone recognizes her in the test center, she will not do anything unnecessary. There is nothing more important than the upcoming college entrance examination. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Her Majesty the Queen has become a god in the entertainment industry. Author, Press 11. Chapter 776. Chapter 776 A Novel Experience. The scene was not what she expected. Other than a few subconscious exclamations from the surroundings, the queue waiting for inspection was not chaotic at all. And because of the rule not to bring mobile phones into the examination room, no one even took out their mobile phones to take pictures. The teacher in charge of the inspection just took one more look at the face in front of him, which usually only appeared on various electronic screens, and gave a routine reminder, put your mobile phone, backpack and other items in the box here, and get your number plate after the exam. Come and get your things. After speaking, he checked the transparent pencil case handed over again, raised his hand and let it go. Having been to the classroom where the exam was held 2 days ago, Zhang Lingzi walked straight over with her pencil case in hand. Zixi. The voice from behind made her pause, and soon the people behind her caught up to her. It's true. Zixi, do your best for the exam. As the girl spoke, she raised her hand and made a fist to indicate. Zhang Lingzi nodded towards her. You too. Which examination room are you in? 103 on the first floor. Then we are not an examination room. Although the girl was a little disappointed, she didn't have high hopes. She was very satisfied that she could meet her favorite actor on the eve of the college entrance examination, talk to him face to face, and receive encouragement from each other. The two of them quickly separated and rushed to their respective examination rooms. Just when there were still people around who were eager to be like the girl just now and bravely step forward to say hello, Zhang Lingzi had already walked smoothly and arrived at the examination room smoothly. Go through another check at the door, and you can only go in after there are no problems. At this time, many candidates in the examination room were already sitting in their seats. They were bored, either memorizing knowledge points silently, or simply sitting in a daze. As Zhang Lingzi walked into the classroom, she found her seat and sat down, instantly attracting the attention of everyone around her. Several of them couldn't help but open their mouths, and their expressions were blank for several seconds. Fortunately, this state did not last long. After getting over the initial shock, I tried my best to calm down. It's impossible not to be calm. You need to be calm during the exam. Compared with whether you can get into a good school and have a good future in the future, even if a big star with 500 million fans is sitting next to you, you can't even think about shaking them to the point of being distracted. As the exam start time approaches, the examination room is gradually filling up. Dozens of people, but no sound was made. Wait until the test bell rings. The sound of the invigilator checking and handing out test papers was heard in the examination room. What followed was the rustle of the pen tip falling on the page and the sound of the test paper being turned. As for Zhang Lingzi's feelings at the moment, it was a very novel experience. She never took a scientific examination in her previous life, but she did take a similar exam in this life. A little satisfied. Time passes minute by minute. Sensing the footsteps coming from behind, Zhang Lingzi's pen in her hand did not stop at all. I don't know if the invigilator recognized her. This was the second time he came to watch her answer the paper. The psychological activity of the invigilator at this moment is, on the one hand, it is indeed because there is a big star among the students he is invigilating, and on the other hand, Zhang Lingzi's handwriting is really beautiful. It feels like watching the other person write is a kind of enjoyment. But even if she wanted to watch more, she couldn't stay too long. She couldn't ignore the other candidates, and if she stood for a long time, she was afraid that they would be nervous. Until the bell rang at the end of the exam, the atmosphere in the examination room suddenly relaxed. Whether you have finished writing or not, you must put down the pen in your hand as soon as possible. Even if the invigilator cannot keep his eyes open, monitoring in the classroom is not a simple matter. After coming out of the examination room, voices could be heard from the crowd. Most of the discussion was about whether the test paper was difficult or not, and how the composition was written. Zhang Lingzi was walking and listening. Unexpectedly, when she came to retrieve the stored items, she ran into the girl who greeted her before entering the examination room. "Zixi, how did you do in the exam?" "Not bad. What about you?" "I think it's okay too, hee, keep working hard for the next exam." Everyone around who heard this conversation cast their eyes. Zhang Lingzi took out the mask and hat from her bag and put it on, then took out her mobile phone and sent a message to Shen Yunqing, "Bye." After saying that, she strode away. Naturally, I didn't hear the chatter that started behind her as she walked away. After leaving the school gate and turning into an unobtrusive alley nearby, Zhang Lingzi had just walked to the nanny's car when the door opened in response. It is refreshing when you enter. "I'm back, Xiaoxu hasn't come yet." "Not yet." Shen Yunqing took the bag from Zhang Lingzi's hand with one hand, and handed a bowl of mung bean paste at the right temperature with the other hand. "First, I'll cushion my stomach." When Zhang Lingzi sat down and finished the small bowl of mung bean paste, he asked, "How did you do in the exam?" "I made an estimate and it should be more than 114. Zhang Lingxiu, who just got in the car. Shouldn't he get back in the car? The next second, he saw his sister and brother-in-law looking towards him. He had no choice but to go up and said, "Sister, brother-in-law." "Sit down." Shen Yunqing handed over another bowl of mung bean paste. "Thank you, brother-in-law." Zhang Lingxiu took a sip of the slightly cold mung bean paste and waited with some anxiety. But when the prepared meal was put on the table, the two people in front of him didn't wait to ask him how he did in the exam. She breathed a sigh of relief quietly. After lunch, the siblings looked at the subject questions to be tested in the afternoon, and then were reminded by Shen Yunqing to take a lunch break. After taking a lunch break, I took my things and ran to the examination room again. 2 days, 4 test papers. When they finally finished the last subject and handed in the test papers and came out of the examination room, many people were still in a daze. After more than 10 years of studying hard, leaving early and returning home late, this time, I finally handed in my answer sheet. Some people are confident and happy, while others cry with tears in their arms after failing the test. Zhang Lingzi pulled up the brim of her hat and walked through the crowd. Previously, during the exam period, everyone could not care about anything else, but now that they can finally relax after the exam, the situation will be a little different. Zhang Lingzi returned to the RV before anyone noticed her. As soon as I sat down and before I had a chance to take a sip of water, I received a message from Tong Yu. Look, the most beautiful college entrance examination candidates this year. Attached is a photo that was probably taken secretly when she entered the examination room this morning. Zhang Lingzi, the shooting was pretty good. The next second, Tong Yu's video call came over, and Zhang Lingzi clicked to connect. Looking at your rosy face, it looks like you did well in the exam. Well, this year's questions weren't too difficult, and I answered them all. That's good. Now that the exam is over, news about you taking the college entrance examination has begun to appear on the internet. I thought you might as well send a post to respond. As for the hot search, just let it happen. Without deliberately adding fuel to the fire, of course she has the confidence to do so. With Zhang Lingzi's current popularity, there is a high chance that it will be on this hot search list. I'll send it when I get back. Okay, I won't disturb you now. Tong Yu, who saw Mr. Shen's clothes on the screen, hung up the video quickly. This time when Zhang Lingzi got in the car, he did not escape the questioning from his sister and brother-in-law. Since the exam has been completed, it has become a fait accompli. I did the math and it should be over 500. That's okay. Are you sure you're going to apply for art school? Yes, Zhang Lingzi nodded seriously. He still wanted to try to learn composition. Moreover, this score can be stably achieved by art colleges, but other comprehensive universities are in doubt. Sister, how about you? How did you do in the exam? Are you sure you want to know? Zhang Lingzi. Suddenly I don't really want to know anymore. Her Majesty the Queen has become a god in the entertainment industry. Author, X. Press 11. Chapter 777. Chapter 777. I heard that Zhang Lingzi took the college entrance examination this year. Following the video call from Tong Yu, many more calls or videos came in one after another. There are family members like Zhang Wenhui and Su Linghan who knew early on that she had taken the college entrance examination, and there are also friends who called for confirmation after seeing the news online. The phone I picked up was hot. At night, as Tong Yu expected, the entry hashtag jumped onto the hot search list, ranking very high. The former is a big star who has become extremely popular in the entertainment industry in the past 6 months, and the latter is a most important exam for Huazhu students. How are the two connected? With this doubt in mind, netizens who saw this hot search entry clicked in one after another. Did you hear that Zhang Lingzi went to take the college entrance examination this year? Really? With her current popularity, she is so generous with her film remuneration and endorsement fees. Why does she still need to cross a single plank bridge among thousands of troops? Making money is money-making, but in terms of academic qualifications, Zhang Lingzi's high school diploma is indeed a bit incompetent. I vaguely remember last year that her agent said that she really had the idea of improving her academic qualifications. I remember it too, but I thought I was paying for a bachelor's degree. Who would have thought that I was going to take the college entrance examination? It's true, I am a college entrance examination candidate this year. I saw Zixi in the examination room, and I mustered up the courage to say hello. Zixi is very easygoing in private. I am also a college entrance examination student, but I have not seen Zixi. I should not be in the same examination room as Zixi. I just want to say, do you want to be so unexpected? Why did you go to the college entrance examination without saying a word? Is Zixi going to apply for the Imperial Film Academy? Then I am Zixi's senior sister. You should be applying for a film and television university. That's right, the score requirements are still low. Based on my experience of being slapped in the face many times, for those of you who think you have guessed the school Zixi wants to apply for, be careful of being slapped in the face again. I just want to know how she finds time to study in her busy schedule. I saw a notice leaked by the crew of Phoenix Seal before, and the schedule was very dense. Zhang Lingzi has really not been idle in the first half of the year. It seems that there are only 2 crew members, one for the female lead and one for the second female lead. In the meantime, she has taken on several endorsements and short films for public welfare. She feels that she may not even have enough time to sleep. No matter what the results are, at least she put aside her work, which can cost tens of thousands per minute, to take the exam in person. I quite admire her decision-making and ability to take action. Admire +1. Big 4 Dog. I was originally hesitating whether to take the postgraduate entrance examination this year or work directly, but now I have decided to give it a try while I am still young. Yes, people who are better than you are still working hard, so what reason do you have for not working hard? After finishing this bowl of chicken soup, you can continue chatting while I go to do my homework first. While having dinner, Zhang Lingxiu still knew Zhang Lingzi's estimate. About 680, the fluctuation should not exceed 10. The world is extremely diverse. He is silently autistic. Asterisk. After Zhang Lingzi posted a post about taking the college entrance examination in the evening, the hot search trended all night and day before it was slowly pushed down. The comment that appears most often under the feed is, "Just wait and wait for the points to come out." Whether they are student fans or adult fans who are already working, they are all very curious. However, it was still almost 20 days before the college entrance examination scores were released. Zhang Lingzi only had 2 days of rest before welcoming her own agent, who was becoming more and more popular. The Wind is scheduled to be released in the summer. As soon as these words came out, Zhang Lingzi knew that she was back to work again. The first road show is in the imperial capital. It is scheduled for tomorrow night. There are also 4 first and second tier cities such as Shanghai and Chengdu that need to be traveled. However, the schedule is not particularly tight. It is almost a city change every 2 or 3 days. It's time to travel. The college entrance examination results will come out right after the road show, so there will be no delay for both parties. Zhang Lingzi finished reading the notice Tong Yu handed her. Is it settled? That is, you are not only paying attention to your college entrance examination scores now, but almost the entire internet is helping to pay attention. How dare I forget it for you? There will be road shows later, but I have pushed them all away and only participated in the first few scales. The biggest. Speaking of which, do you really plan to major in history? Why, wouldn't it be easier to major in art and match your current job? If you major in history, wouldn't you have to attend classes honestly? What kind of art major? Just like calligraphy, painting, music. The following examples gradually disappeared under Zhang Lingzi's gaze. Tong Yu raised her hand and patted her mouth. These majors do sound good, but they are relative to others. But for Zhang Lingzi, in calligraphy and painting, the teacher's level may not be as high as that of the students. As for music, Zhang Lingzi told her early on that she only liked listening to it, not singing. There is also the most suitable acting major. What better experience can there be than filming on the set? If you choose these majors, there is really no need to take the college entrance examination again. But Zhang Lingzi also knows that it is unrealistic to ask Tong Yu to give her a complete holiday in the second half of the year. Sister Tong, you only need to reduce some non-essential workload for me, and I will coordinate the rest myself. Tong Yu nodded blankly. The evening of the next day, the eve of the roadshow. After a few months, the creators of The Wind gathered together again to promote the movie. Xiao Yu couldn't help but look at Zhang Lingzi, who was sitting on the sofa opposite. Since the completion of The Wind, this was the first time he saw the person in front of him. However, the news on the internet was overwhelming. Even if he didn't pay special attention to it, he knew how busy this person had been in the past few months. But even though I was so busy, I actually went to take a college entrance examination. He almost spit out water when he saw this news on the hot search list. I couldn't believe it at all, but I finally confirmed it was true after seeing the post posted by myself. Why does this person act like this? It's unexpected. Xiao Yu looked at the person opposite and put down his cup and took a deep breath. Which school will Sister 11 apply for? Film, drama, or art? In the imperial capital, these three colleges are the most closely related to the entertainment industry. Neither. Ah. Xiao Yu was stunned subconsciously. I want to apply to Beijing University. Xiao Yu met Zhang Lingzi's looking eyes and checked again and again to make sure that this was not a joke. The scores required by Beijing University seem a bit high. Zhang Lingzi naturally checked the score line of Peking University in advance. But if her assessment is correct, she should be able to pass. It's really high. Xiao Yu. He had nothing to say. Since I know that I still insist on applying to Beijing University, it seems that I am very confident in my college entrance examination results. But, can this really be done? Her Majesty the Queen has become a god in the entertainment industry. Author, Press 11. Chapter 778. Chapter 778 Roadshow Site Check. Even though Tong Yu's calculated itinerary was perfect, there is another saying that plans don't change quickly. The last road show in Chengdu was temporarily rescheduled and postponed for one day due to sudden heavy rain and thunder and lightning. The planes were grounded. Moreover, the crew flew directly to Chengdu from the city where the last road show was held, and now they couldn't even turn back to the imperial capital. Zhang Lingzi received a call from Tong Yu while waiting for the rain to stop at the hotel. Why doesn't it fall early and late but now? Compared to Tong Yu's annoyance, Zhang Lingzi accepted the rain very calmly. The weather in June changes at will. But as a result, the road show will be postponed to the morning of the day after tomorrow, which is when the college entrance examination scores will be released. Not to mention that many college entrance examination students or those who have college entrance examination students at home are busy checking their scores at that time, and there is no time to attend the road show. There is even a guest on the road show who needs to check his score. This rain has messed up all the previous arrangements. The matter has reached this point, and there is no point in getting upset. Besides, if I can't check it myself, others can check it for me. No, it's more ritualistic to check it yourself. Zhang Lingzi thought for a while. Then the score release time will coincide with the road show time, so I'll ask Director Feng if he can check the score first. Tong Yu. Since she was sure that this was not just a joke, she thought about it seriously. If you are confident enough in your score, it is not impossible to do this. Just as Zhang Lingzi hung up the phone with Tong Yu, there was a knock on the door of the room. Lu Zhengzheng trotted over and opened the door. Sister Zixi, Director Feng is here. Zhang Lingzi got up and returned to the living room from the balcony. Director Feng, do you need me if you need anything? Sit, if I remember correctly, the day after tomorrow is when the results of the college entrance examination will be announced. Well, the notice says that the score investigation channel will be opened at 10 o'clock the day after tomorrow. Our road show in Chengdu has also been rescheduled to the morning of the day after tomorrow. Feng Su frowned. I didn't expect to get involved in this incident. However, if it is to be changed temporarily, communication will be a troublesome matter. There are also follow-up arrangements, etc., which must also be changed together. Forget it, let's just bump into each other. If you need to check your score, you can go backstage first and I'll just explain it to the audience who came to the road show. I think everyone will understand. Who let the good plans be disrupted by such a heavy rain? You can't blame God. Asterisk. The heavy rain almost stopped at midnight. When everyone woke up the next day, they opened the curtains and it was sunny and beautiful. Planes can also take off. So what are you waiting for? After breakfast, pack your luggage and go straight to the airport. After arriving in Chengdu, I rested for a night to adjust my condition. At 9 o'clock in the morning the next morning, Zhang Lingzi's last road show officially started. It's just that compared to the previous times, the audience coming to participate in the road show this time was obviously much smaller. It's not that the audience in Chengdu is not as enthusiastic as in the previous cities, but there is a more important thing today that affects the hearts of everyone related to it. Fortunately, everyone in the crew was mentally prepared. Even before the road show started, Xiao Yu and others even asked Zhang Lingzi when the score would be checked. When they learned that it started at 10 o'clock, they all said that their mobile phones had fast internet speeds, and if they had a network card when checking the scores, they could use their own. Zhang Lingzi thanked them for their kindness. She was quite confident about her mobile phone's internet speed. After the previous road shows, everyone is familiar with the process. When the guests came on stage, they first introduced each other and the roles they played in the movie. After that, they talked about the plot of the play and some interesting things that happened on the set, and then interacted with the audience in the audience. Seeing that it was almost 10 o'clock, Zhang Lingzi noticed Feng Su winking at her and nodded invisibly. Just as she was about to retreat backstage, she heard an audience member holding a microphone in his hand looking at her. This way. Well, I would like to ask Zixi a question that has nothing to do with the movie, is it okay? Zhang Lingzi's feet paused. She looked at the girl who spoke to her, and then glanced at the mobile phone behind her that was used for live streaming. You ask. The girl couldn't help but swallowed her saliva when she saw it, but she still restrained her nervousness and mustered up the courage to speak. Zixi took part in this year's college entrance examination, and now it's time to check her scores. I wonder if I can check on the spot. I'm curious. The audience in the live broadcast room are also very curious. Of course, she didn't say the last sentence. She will not take the college entrance examination, and there are no students in her family who will take the college entrance examination. Someone in the audience in the live broadcast room mentioned this proposal. She had no choice but to bite the bullet because the other party promised to give him a large amount of gifts. Zhang Lingzi took out her mobile phone and looked at the time. 3:10. This timing is really good. I was planning to go to the backstage to check, if you are not afraid of wasting time. The girl shook her head repeatedly, no delay, no delay. After speaking, he looked around again. Everyone shook their heads, and their curiosity was aroused. Since the audience had no objection, Zhang Lingzi didn't bother to go backstage and ask Director Feng to explain it to her. She took out her phone and opened the college entrance examination score system. She has already memorized the admission ticket number in her mind. She will enter it according to the prompts and finally click to query. I have to say that the situation at this road show is really weird. No one among the road show guests on the stage made a sound, and the audience was also quiet. Nearly everyone's eyes were focused on the mobile phone in Zhang Lingzi's hand. Zhang Lingzi looked at the mobile phone screen in front of her and said slowly, "It's indeed a bit stuck." Everyone who is waiting nervously. Isn't this normal? At this moment, there should be tens of millions of people crowded in this scoring channel. It doesn't matter if you check it after you know it, but who doesn't want to know their score as soon as possible? I can't control my desire to check my score. He tried it twice in a row. Just when Xiao Yu, who was standing aside, couldn't help but take out his mobile phone and want to try it with his own, Zhang Lingzi said, "Is it out?" How many? Many people on stage and off stage almost asked the question at the same time. Zhang Lingzi calmly read out the number after the total score, 6, 8, 9. Everyone said again. With this score, why don't you be so calm? Feng Su endured the complaints from the big guys in his heart and coughed lightly, "Are you satisfied with this score?" "Well, I previously estimated the score to be around 680, and the fluctuation should not exceed 10 points. The score is within psychological expectations. Listening to the conversation between Zhang Lingzi and director Feng, the expression on Xiao Yu's face was rarely blank. At this moment, he suddenly remembered his previous conversation with Zhang Lingzi. The other party said that he wanted to apply to Beijing University. Now, it's really done. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Her Majesty the Queen has become a god in the entertainment industry. Author, Press 11. Chapter 779. Chapter 779. Hot search hits again. The hot search exploded again. Clicking on the hot search list, netizens saw the words Zhang Lingzi again. Get used to it, they really are used to it. Look again at the suffix that follows. Zhang Lingzi's on-site score check hashtag. Today seems to be the day when the college entrance examination scores will be announced. The score is checked on the spot. Is it possible to check the score and broadcast it live? Aren't you afraid of a misfortune? No, it seems that the crew of The Wind is doing a road show in Chengdu today, just in time to get the results of the college entrance examination. Having said it all, everyone who saw this hot search clicked on it invariably. The first topic is a live broadcast screen recording with a somewhat shaky screen. Clicking on it, you can see that it was at a road show, and someone in the audience took a mobile phone to live broadcast. From the girl standing up and expressing curiosity about Zhang Lingzi's college entrance examination scores, to Zhang Lingzi taking out her mobile phone to check the scores on the spot. After the scores came out, Zhang Lingzi responded to director Feng's words about the previous score evaluation, as well as the expressions of the other guests standing on the stage. The editing is very complete. Although it is not the score I got in the test, I still want to scream. 689, you can enter basically all domestic universities. I just want to know how this score was obtained. How could he do so well in the exam? The key is that the score can be estimated so accurately. Would it be a bit of a disadvantage to go to a film and television arts school with this score? The audience at the scene didn't even ask which school Zixi was going to apply for. The live audience who happened to turn to this comment. Can they say that they were so shocked that they forgot about it? By the time they remembered to ask, the event was already over, so they couldn't catch up and ask again. It's too late to regret it now. If you don't want to think about it anymore, just keep reading. I passed the 671 exam and hope to become an alumnus with Zixi. Many people still remember the profile picture in front of this comment, the college entrance examination student who was lucky enough to be assigned to the same examination room as Zhang Lingzi during the college entrance examination and encouraged each other. Later, many people asked her which university she wanted to apply for. My goal is Beijing University. Everyone. With this score, Zhang Lingzi really plans to apply for a comprehensive university, right? If you go to school again, what about your career in the entertainment industry? Although it is indeed important to improve your academic qualifications, if you can graduate from Beijing University, your academic qualifications will be one of the best in the entertainment industry. But compared to the current prosperity in the entertainment industry, switching to school would be a bit of a loss. Zhang Lingzi didn't know that netizens had begun to worry about her future choices. After coming out of the event, she got in the car heading to the airport. By the way, I called Shen Yunqing. Her scores have been found out, but she doesn't know exactly how many Zhang Lingzi scored. Did you see my score? Well, 6, 8, 9, a very beautiful number. It's a little higher than I expected. Beijing University should be stable. Where is Xiaoxu's score? Have you found out? 506. Then his own estimate is quite accurate. The scoreline for the Art Institute last year was 450. Even if it is raised this year, it will not exceed 50 if he reports the score to the Art Institute, there should be no problem. That's good, I'm on my way to the airport now, and I'll be in the imperial capital in the afternoon. Shall I tell my father-in-law, mother-in-law, and my grandpa and grandma to have dinner together tonight? Okay, you can make the arrangements. After getting off the plane and returning to Z1 in the afternoon, Zhang Lingzi met Zhang Lingxiu, who had achieved ideal scores but was still a little autistic. The school you want to go to is already stable, what else can you be unhappy about? Zhang Lingxiu looked at his sister who was still on the hot search list and said, "You are 689. Zhang Lingzi raised her eyebrows, "Well, didn't you already know about my evaluation?" Zhang Lingxiu finally understood. This is probably because top students never know the pain of bad students. His sister was very calm even after passing 689 or 9. He, who only passed 500 or above, was embarrassed to celebrate even if he said it. She calmed down silently and said, "Sister, many people on the internet are guessing which school you will apply for. I'll find out when school starts. Do you really want to go to class? Then why would I go to take the college entrance examination? What about your job in the entertainment industry? This is not something you should worry about. My phone is ringing, please bring it to me." Zhang Lingxiu stood up hurriedly, unplugged the charging cable from the mobile phone that was being charged, and brought it over. "It's Sister Min Min." After Zhang Lingzi answered the call, she wisely put her phone further away. Sure enough, the microphone position vibrated in the next second. "Sister 11, you are my god." "Zhang Lingzi, that's not the case." "Why not? 6, 8, 9. I was shocked when I saw your test score from the internet. And you were so busy in the first half of the year, and you could still get this score. You don't even know about me." When other guests on the show heard about this score, they thought I was kidding them. I showed them the hot searches, and they were in a daze for a long time before they believed it. "Sister 11, which school do you plan to apply for? Although film and television colleges are more liberal, it would be a bit of a loss to apply for your score. Other comprehensive universities are not so free. If you go to class then, wouldn't you? No time for filming or anything." Since she had nothing to hide from her friends, Zhang Lingzi directly stated her plan: apply to Beijing University. Wei Minmin took a deep breath on the other end of the phone. "Is this decided?" "Well, there's nothing to hesitate about." "Then your score should be fine. By the way, I actually have something else to do on the phone this time." "You say?" "It's the pastoral variety show Daowin Village I'm participating in now. The director of the show asked us to invite friends to be the flying guests for the first episode. I had been hesitant to find you before, but now your college entrance examination scores have come out, the wind I'm also busy with my road show. I wonder if you have time to come to my place to record an episode? It only takes 3 to 5 days. If something happens, I can leave early. Moreover, I think the recording is quite relaxing. The scenery here is also very good, and there are many delicious fruits. By the way, the fish in their mountain spring water is also delicious." Zhang Lingzi. Now everyone knows that she likes to eat fish, and they actually use this to tempt her. "I'll think about it and give you an answer tomorrow. Since he is a guest on the flight, Tong, you must let him know. It would be bad if we have other arrangements and it happens to happen." Wei Minmin also understood this truth. "Okay, I'll wait for your news." Tong Yu happened to come over the next day. After celebrating the high scores in the exam, he talked about work. Zhang Lingzi told her about Wei Minmin's invitation. Tong Yu thought for a while and nodded. The show Daowin Village is quite popular. This kind of slow-paced variety show is quite popular now. It would be good for you to go and relax. Zhang Lingzi searched for this program after hanging up the phone from Wei Minmin, and also watched the 2 previous episodes. Although this program is just a slow variety show about eating, drinking, and having fun, its popularity has remained high since its launch. The regular guests invited include many popular actors and well-known hosts. Now Tong Yu says it's just okay. Sister Tong, you are drifting. Tong Yu. Her Majesty the Queen has become a god in the entertainment industry. Author, Press 11. Chapter 780. Tong Yu couldn't help but reflect deeply. Have you really been a little drifting lately? However, the result of reflection is, I originally received guest invitations from 2 crews during this period, and I was thinking about rejecting them. Now that I think about it, the next one is not bad. They are all good scripts. Even if they are just guest appearances, I can always be in the audience. It's good to show your face in the drama. Also, you will have to go to school to register for formal classes in more than 2 months. Even if you can coordinate well by then, you will definitely not have as much time as you do now. I just heard Mr. Xiao say that there is a military-themed TV series being prepared. Yes, although the director is a little unknown, the subject matter is very good, and there is a bit of background. It is a real drama. Why don't you give it a try? However, I want to try a TV series with this theme like Empress Yuan Zhao. It seems a bit unlikely that this kind of drama will be a hit. Zhang Lingzi turned around and faced 3 jobs at once. Does she shoot herself in the foot? The two looked at each other with smiles. Tong Yu lowered her head and skillfully listed a few announcements on her tablet. The variety show where Daowen Village will serve as a flying guest is scheduled for 5 days, including the round trip, about a week. When I come back and take a day off, I will give the guest stars of the 2 shows. It's filmed. When you go to record the variety show, I will report your information. Military themes are always censored more strictly, but you should be fine. After the previous filming is completed, the review results will come out. How about it, are you satisfied? Zhang Lingzi nodded her eyebrows and said, okay. Since she decided to follow this path in her life, she naturally wanted to climb to the top. But this goal cannot be achieved by just lying down, you still have to work hard. Compared with my previous life, my current career is really not hard at all. It's quite interesting sometimes. Tong Yu received the nod and immediately went to communicate with the program team and the drama team in advance. Zhang Lingzi didn't even have time to say something to persuade her to stay for lunch later. Took the mobile phone and called Wei Minmin back. Sister 11, how are you thinking about it? Sister Tong should be communicating with your program team soon. Great. Sister 11, when you come and sleep with me. My room faces the lake. It's cooler now. It's the best bedroom I got by lot. Zhang Lingzi listened to the boast on the phone and finally hung up the phone. Now only she and Shen Yunqing are left in Z1 again. Zhang Lingzi moved away after finishing the college entrance examination. Grandpa and Grandma moved earlier and now bought 2 townhouses in a high-end community not too far from Z1. After Zhang Wenhui and Zhang Runchinj rented out their original house, they moved in and became neighbors with their uncle and aunt. However, since the 2 families moved there, Zhang Lingzi has only been there once during the Nuanja banquet. Thinking that she would be busy again in the next 2 months or so, she planned to go over and take a look after lunch. It's a bit late to go now. By the time she and Shen Yunqing rush there, everyone over there will have already eaten. There were footsteps behind me, and I knew who they were without turning around. I want to visit my parents this afternoon. Okay, Tong Yu is gone. Well, not long after I left, I arranged a lot of work, so I'm going to get busy now. Shen Yunqing paused as he was about to sit down. Is there work again? Give. Zhang Lingzi handed over the mobile phone that she had not yet put down. Tong Yu also sent her a copy of the scheduled announcement before leaving. Shen Yunqing took the phone and saw several to-do items listed in detail on the screen. After reading it, he frowned slightly. Can you finish these before school starts? Absolutely. Zhang Lingzi paused after saying, I am very efficient. She likes people around her to work efficiently, whether they are ministers or subordinates. Then she naturally has to set an example herself. Otherwise, if you can't do it yourself, why should you ask others? The weather is getting hotter and hotter now. Is it too hard? He didn't know much about filming before, but now after filming once, wearing a cotton padded jacket on a hot day and short-sleeved clothes on a cold day is completely normal on the set. Zhang Lingzi raised her hand and put it on Shen Yunqing's shoulder. The cabinet you prepared for me is still empty. Just one award is not enough. And if you want to win an award, how can you do it without any works? Shen Yunqing knew that he didn't need to persuade him. If the person in front of you decides to do something, then he will definitely do it. Let's go eat first. Zhang Lingzi's hand on Shen Yunqing's shoulder slid down his arm to his palm. Min said that there is a unique fish near the place where they filmed the show. It is very delicious whether it is made into soup or grilled, but it is not easy to preserve. It will die within an hour of being out of the water, and the taste will be greatly reduced when it is dead. Otherwise I can bring you a few when I come back. Shen Yunqing held her hand and walked towards the restaurant. Actually, there is another way. Go and eat locally. Zhang Lingzi, this method is good, he is a talented person. Just when Zhang Lingzi and Shen Yunqing were staying at Grandpa and Grandma's place to have a dinner before going home, Tong Yu sent a message very efficiently. The flight recording in Daowen village has been agreed to be scheduled in 2 days. However, Zhang Lingzi decided to leave early. Lu Zhengzheng and Fang Yao still flew there that day as originally planned, while she and Shen Yunqing drove there 1 day in advance. It's not a RV, but the interior space is not small, so there is no problem for eating, sleeping, etc. When she told Lu Zhengzheng this arrangement via video, she didn't know what she was thinking. She smiled and nodded. I understand, Sister Zixi, just call me when you and Mr. Shen arrive. It's not important, Yao Yao, and I will never disturb you. Zhang Lingzi hung up the video and looked at Shen Yunqing, who was sitting next to her. What does this girl understand? Understand that we don't want to be disturbed. Actually, it's nothing. Zhang Lingzi shook her head and didn't want to think about it anymore. What exactly is going on in Lu Zhengzheng's little head? Taking the watermelon from Su Ling'an, Enan, do you have any plans for the summer vacation? I applied for a professor's project, and her research direction has a lot in common with what I wanted to research before. Although my mother has already been found, I still want to research this technology. Maybe I can help more people. Are you going to continue to be busy during the summer vacation? Well, even though I'm doing odd jobs, there are very good senior brothers and sisters there, and I can learn a lot. While listening, Zhang Lingzi glanced at Zhang Lingxiu, who was sitting opposite and munching melon seriously. Pretending not to pay attention, I don't know how long my ears have been standing up. Really, I didn't see it. End of chapter.